Hello again, and I find myself back in the studio. Here I am sketching up my latest floral piece. I really enjoy this stage of the painting where I'm getting all the original line work down, the skeleton of the piece. Sometimes I could even stop at this stage and leave it as it is, but my love of colour won't allow that, so I continue on. I really just love it, the bare bones. You can really get a feel for what the image is going to be like eventually. In these paintings, I am adding the wagtail more commonly, getting a little bit of a dance on as you do. I was in a pretty good mood today in the studio, which is pretty much usually the case. Didn't have any music playing today. This was all just coming from the old mic jukebox. Had the sunnies on, as I do, which kind of gives me a focus, really. I don't need them to paint. I just prefer to paint with them on. It makes me have to squint even harder at what I'm doing, even harder than normal because I am blind as a bat. So in this piece, I was hoping to get about 4 or 5 wagtails in, facing different directions. I'm using a gloss aerosol. I have been advised that they last longer than the matte black aerosol. So there's a tip for you guys out there. Lots of fun. The more I don't know about you, but the more I look at this painting just in yellows and blacks, it's really pushing me to maybe do my next piece in just two-tone colours. I'll just see how I go. I've done it before with some success, but yeah, I think the yellow and the black really comes through well, actually. So where are we at now? 1, 2, 3, and adding the 4th now. I think I probably should add another one in that top left space there, but let's just see how we go. Oh, struggling to get my pants on, I was. Okay, so you can see that I've come further along, and now I'm adding colour throughout the piece. I don't know whether you've noticed, but I always work in threes, so there'll always be 3 blotches of colour to start my colouring scheme. So you can see there's 3 red pieces, then 3 blue pieces, and everything beyond that is just a visual balance of colour as I proceed throughout the painting. As per usual, I'm using external house paint acrylics. I find that the quality of house paints nowadays is so far superior to often overpriced store-bought fine artist paints. I think artist oil paints are pretty good quality, but if you're working in acrylics, there's no reason not to just use neglected house paint. The vast majority of my paint is very kindly donated to me and often picked up out of skips and gotten off builders who'd prefer to give it to me than have to pay to dispose of it. It's a bit of a win-win for everyone, really. I'm all about recycling and keeping it cheap and good and friendly for the environment at the same time. So a bit of a tick for everyone. The colour scheme in this piece is starting to broaden out. You can see I'm adding some shades of brown through some leaves in the Australian native flora. I think I'm going to be coming back and really going to town with my different shades. I have quite an extensive library of browns because it's a popular house colour, popular colour that gets thrown out a lot in builders skips. So I might have to include a photo later to show you how much bloody brown paint I have in the studio. It's actually starting to take up a lot of space. I'm actually thinking of doing a bit of a shuffle round to keep it somewhat calm in my studio. I'm very tidy in my home life, but not so much in the old studio. I've also got a lot of tins that have only got like a tiny bit of paint in them, and the tins themselves are taking up more room than the paint is. I could probably easily decant it into some smaller containers that I have. I like to use old hummus containers and old jars of spaghetti bolognese, etc., from the kitchen, rather than throwing things out. I find it very difficult to throw things out that you would otherwise be paying for at Bunnings if you were looking for a similar item. So there's no reason for artists to be spending money unnecessarily when there's things all around us that can easily be recycled. I'm huge on that. You've probably heard me talk about it before. So yeah, look, I'm really happy with the way this piece is progressing. This is just 2 days' work where we're up to now. I imagine that the piece will end up taking about 5 days of work, not including dry time. I like to price my paintings as a master tradesperson would. So, I've got 30 plus years experience as a painter. So I consider myself a master craftsman. So, we're looking at around 150 an hour for labour, sometimes less. And then you've got your paint and material costs on top of that. And because I am so frugal and quite good at recycling, that brings that down even further for people. A piece this size, I'd probably be looking to sell in between 1,500 and 2,000, or nearest offer, obviously. I'm happy with that. I think if you walked into a gallery, a piece like this would be looking anywhere between $5,000 to $15,000. Even for a lesser known artist. So all up, I think my prices aren't exorbitant or unfair, really. It's just not the reason I do this. I'm really just remunerating myself correctly. I'm not in it for the money. I mean, for me, it's for the passion, for the love. This is where I feel at my most powerful and most alive. And, I'd like to think that comes out in the work. This piece, I'm probably going to spend more time adding detail. I do love these simple floral paintings, but I am trying to get just, maybe slightly somewhat more detailed. We'll just see how it goes. I mean, it all comes down to how the balance is and how the feel of it is visually over the next 3 or 4 days. But no, I'm certainly going to be adding a lot more range, hues of brown and golden, different shades of yellow too. Just want to add some more warmth. I want it to be a very rich, warm piece that just radiates that feel of the summer's day in the Australian bush. I've thrown in some slightly tropical imagery in there too, but it all comes together nicely, I think. Possibly add another wagtail in. We'll just see how we go. I'm just really in a great space today in the studio and yesterday. It's, as I mentioned previously, it's my jam, and we've all got that in life, be it reading, sport, producing artwork, craft work. We've all got that space where we go into the zone and we find ourselves very focused and happy, and the world slips by. I'm certainly in that zone right now whilst painting. Looks like I'm doing a bit of Tai Chi, really, doesn't it, at times? I don't find it physically draining. And anyway, that's where we're at now, guys. We'll see how we go tomorrow.